demonstrate how to prepare the lemon tahini dressing. This dressing is made of a couple ingredients that I'll describe to you first in case you're unfamiliar with them. So the first is essentially a sesame seed butter, and this is going to be the base of our dressing. It's commonly used in Middle Eastern food. If you've had a falafel, you've probably had tahini. And also if you've had hummus, you've had tahini, because in any good quality hummus, there's tahini present in there, and that's one of the main flavors, along with garbanzo beans or chickpeas, salt, and lemon. So this is going to be actually quite reminiscent of the flavor of classic or plain hummus. So if you like that, there's almost no way you wouldn't like this. This is thinner than a hummus would be, so it's going to make a nice dressing. You can use it on a bowl, a salad, a sandwich, really wherever you want a little bit of some lemon and some richness from the fat in the sesame seeds. These are untoasted sesame seeds, and there are varying qualities of tahini. So if you try tahini and you don't like it, or you make something with it and don't like it, I'd encourage you to try again with another brand before you totally give up on it. If you can find tahini that's from sesame seeds from Ethiopia, those in particular tend to be pretty high quality tahinis, but there are many good brands out there. If you buy one where it feels like there's a rock in the bottom of the container and then just oil on top and you really can't get it mixed together, those tend to not be as good, or maybe have sat on the shelf for so long that they might be starting to get rancid. So definitely pick something that is a little bit easier to stir together. You can also make your own. So if you have a high-powered blender like a Vitamix or a Blendtec type blender or any other high-powered blender, then just putting sesame seeds into the blender and turning it on, sometimes with a little bit of oil if you need to get it to mix, will work really well to make your own. So I'm going to go ahead and put this tahini into the bowl. Okay. I'm going to end up whisking this together, so I'll use my whisk to get that out. All right. And then I'll put in all the other ingredients except for the lemon and the water first, and then I want to show you a couple tricks with the lemon. So I have a little maple syrup here. You can use any sweetener that you want, but something that is not super strong. This is not enough to add a strong mapley flavor, but for example, you wouldn't want to use something like molasses or something that's going to take over the taste of the tahini. And then we'll put some salt. If this tastes very bland to you at the end, then it's probably under lemoned and under salted. So those are ways to fix that if you need to. I have some garlic powder. And then I am going to put half of this in, and then we'll taste it. This is some cayenne pepper. So it's really just adding some heat. You can leave that out if you don't want any heat at all, and it will be very tasty. So one of the main flavors of this is lemon. And if you have a really hard lemon, you can roll it on your cutting board, get it nice and juicy. This one's actually quite juicy. The way the recipe is written, you can just cut it open and juice it. But if you want an extra hit of lemon to make it extra lemony, you can go ahead and zest that. So this tool is a microplane. It is just another type of or name for a zester. And as long as you don't push down super hard, the nice thing is you're pretty unlikely to cut yourself on it. And it makes some really nice, fine, grated lemon zest. So what we're aiming for is just to get this bright yellow part off the outside of the lemon. You don't want to get down into the white part called the pith. That's just bitterness. That's not going to add any additional flavor that you want. But this lemon part is really like the most intense lemon flavor that you're going to get in anything. So I'm going to make this extra lemony because I'm just in the mood for some lemon today. All right. Probably don't want to put the whole thing in there. It's quite strong. You just tap it off, it will mostly come off. If you give this a good rinse pretty quickly after you finish, it's quite easy to clean. If you let this dry out and get stuck on here, then it's quite hard to clean. So cleaning tip, wash that off quickly. All right, and then I'm just going to whisk all of our ingredients together. You can see this is a pretty thick paste. It's certainly not a dressing or anything that you could pour over anything. So what we do at this point is we're just going to add some hot water. It's really similar, basically the exact same technique as our peanut sauce. We're just using a different type of butter. So you'll start to get a sense that nut butters and seed butters are pretty interchangeable. They have a high protein, high fiber, high fat content. So you can always mix and match. All right, so I'm just gonna put a tablespoon or two of hot water, my tea kettle, and then you wanna whisk that in, adding a little bit, mixing it to incorporate, and then adding a little bit more is going to be a lot easier to get it all emulsified together than if you just pour a bunch in all at once. And again, just like the peanut sauce or any other nut butter, this will thicken as it sits. So you want to make it a little thinner than you're going to want to serve it if you're not going to serve it immediately. So this is still pretty thick. So put a little bit more. And you want to make sure that your water is quite warm or hot. If you put cold water, it's not going to emulsify and it's just going to clump up. And it won't look nice and creamy and smooth. It will be chunky and not very appealing looking. And very importantly, we have to put that lemon juice in there. We got that hit of lemon with the lemon zest, but we haven't put our juice in yet. So let's put that in as well. And I know from experience that you are going to want to use quite a bit of lemon. So really not too much of a chance that you're going to over lemon this. All right, we've got a lot of seeds. You can use your fingers to catch it just like I did. Okay, just whisk that in as well. All right, so I think we're getting to a drizzling consistency. So this is really what we're looking for. Let me just get some tasting spoons. It's actually already starting to thicken up even though I just added more liquid to it. So you can see how much of a thickening agent the seed and nut butters are. So tasty, really, really good. I think that just as it is, it has a nice amount of heat, but I'm going to add just a smidge more because I know it's going to be quite diluted on whatever dish that we're going to put it on. So I'm going to put the rest of that cayenne pepper in there. It's getting thick and clumpy again, just soaking up that water, so I'm also going to thin it out a bit. And then since we diluted it, we want to taste again to make sure our flavorings are still the way we want them. And we should be pretty close here. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So that's really gonna brighten up whatever dish you have, add some richness. If you are having it in a bowl, this is actually a nice one to pair with some of those more hearty greens. Things like kale will stand up to this. You probably don't want to put these heavy nut and seed-based sauces on really delicate greens. So, you have some spring mix, baby bib lettuces, really subtly flavored greens. This is not the dressing for those, but things that have, a big flavor, this is a great dressing to use to kind of tie everything together. So I hope you enjoy our lemon tahini dressing.